All right, it's 2:30. We've got Snipes coach David Cole with us. Scott Wyckoff, you lead us off.
Hey, coach, what is it about Eli and Brandon that makes them such perfect fits in your offense?
Ah, well, first of all, those guys are extremely talented. Extremely talented, extremely intelligent as well too as football players. As you know, we do a lot. The snipe position does a multiple of things for our offense, and you have to be an intelligent football player along with being an athletic young man as well too. And they have both those qualities. So, I think that's what makes them perfect fits, that they're high intelligent football players, and obviously, as we all know, they're gifted athletically as well too.
What is the difference between the Snipe A and the Snipe Z?
No real difference. When Coach Cronic first, well, I won't say him, but his father, you know, started the offense and was building it, the Snipe Z was a little bit bigger of a guy, and he didn't run the ball as much as the A Snipe. The A Snipe was truly more of the tailback, and the Z Snipe was more of the snipe that would remove and run routes, more of the route tree. Now, with both those guys having similar skill sets, there is really no difference. Both of them can get in the backfield, run the ball, and both of them can be removed out and run the route tree as well too. So, moving forward, we like those guys to be clones. They can do it. They can do it all.
How beneficial has it been for both you and your staff and also your Snipes to have this second year together to bring in what was new last year, but also to have the continuity to continue on with it this year?
Extremely, extremely. Anything you do when you have time to let it grow and water it, and everyone starts to understand the little nuances with it, is going to make it that much more special. And year two, you know, guys are familiar with the plays, they're familiar with the formations, they know the expectations, they know the quirks with the plays as well too. So, having their second year and guys being, a year with a year underneath their belt in the offense is extremely beneficial.
How important is it for Isaiah and TK and guys like them that they continue to develop, even though they've got such great players in front of them, that they develop in their roles?
Extremely. We're going to need these guys, all those guys. I mean, TK, Isaiah, Charles Robinson, to mention another one. We're going to need all those young guys to do what we want to do. It's going to be a long season again, and the style of football we play, Navy football, we're going to get after. We're going to be physical. So, we're going to need guys to come in and spell those guys and not have a drop off. And, those guys are seniors. So it's extremely important because they're the future, those three guys I just mentioned. So, it's extremely important that they continue to grow and develop, along and become great players. So, it's something that we're going to continue to do. And those guys have worked hard. All three of those guys have worked extremely hard to continue to build the legacy at the snipe position.
How challenging and how unique is it to be coaching players like this that have to be as good the runners as good they are as receivers?
I've had experience with it being a secondary coach, and when I was telling Coach Cronic, these kids are extremely similar to that nickel position in the 4-2-5 defense. That position in 4-2-5 defense, the nickel position, is a guy that has to do a multiple of duties as well too. So he has to play in the run, he has to be able to blitz, he has to be able to play the pass game, man, zone. So it's extremely similar. So. When I, was moved over to the snipe position, I was extremely excited and ready for the challenge. And, having that experience has made this, transition easier.
Thanks, coach.
Flags.
Yep, no problem.
Well, I guess let's talk a little bit about Eli Heidenreich. He had a breakout season last year and was just spectacular at times. How can he be better? Can he be better?
Well, we all know it's very cliche, but it's always room for improvement, right? And he's done a great job as far as becoming a smarter football player. A lot of what he was doing last year was just, instinct and being a really good football player. Now where we our mission was to continue to, grow his football IQ and knowledge of defenses, fronts, techniques, secondary, understanding how all those pieces fit in and what we're trying to do to continue to, manipulate the defense, with the offense and the play calling. So, those are areas that, he's growing in. He's done a great job of attacking that. And you can see it out there on the field.
What do you think makes Eli such a good player, such a playmaker? What are some of the attributes that make him so dangerous?
Well, I mean, he's extremely he has great instincts, really great instincts. He has, he's not a robot. He goes out there and he plays and he is able to adapt with the game, the ebbs and flows of the game. And, like I said, he's a high football IQ guy as well, too. He understands what's going on. He's getting a better understanding of that. He's blessed with a great skill set, strong hands, good feet, quick twitch young man. And like I said, he just has the it factor as well too. Some things you just can't coach. So those are some of the qualities that makes him a good football player.
And how would you describe Brandon Chapman and what he brings to the field? I mean, he's a different type of player than Eli, but he's also very, can be very dangerous, very talented.
Yeah, I mean, he has some of the similar qualities. Very instinctual, really good, gritty football player, tough, get after you. He's quick twitch, good hands, high football IQ guy as well, too. Great leader. So those are some of the things that, Brandon Chapman brings to the snipe room and to this football program and the offense. And I mean, he's probably one of the toughest kids that I've ever coached. He'll get after you in the run game. He'll get after you as a blocker. He's extremely, shifty out there, removed as a receiver as well too. So it's nice to see those guys, together because they're a nice little duo.
Based on the production from Heidenreich and Chapman last season, do you expect a lot more defensive attention to the two Snipes, and how do you counteract that?
Well, I think we got a lot of players besides those two that are going to bring some attention, and I think the defenses are going to have to definitely pay attention to not just Eli and Brandon Chapman. Alex Texka, Luke Hutchison is going to be a good football player for us as well too. So, and obviously we got a really good quarterback. So we're going to put a lot of pressure on the defense, not just with those two, but as a group effort. I mean, Cody Howard's coming back as well too as a tight end. So our skill position is going to put a lot of pressure on defenses, and they're not going to be able just to, just to home in on Brandon Chapman or Eli Heinrich. Because if they do, we have other pieces that we can go to, and they can be special as well too.
I'll pass it off.
Coach Alex, Blake, and Eli have been on a million watch list, and deservedly so. But is Brandon Chapman underrated?
Uh, I think he has a little bit of that right now, and I think that's something that continues to feed his fuel. And I kind of like that he's underrated a little bit as well too, because like I said, while everybody is homing in on those two, he'll be that guy that's slowly, creeping around making plays, and he made a lot of plays last year as well too. So I think that'll slowly start to fade away, him being an underrated player. But he's definitely not underrated here. We know what Chat can do. We know what he has done for us. And I'm looking forward to him having a good year as well too.
I thought Charles Robinson was pretty impressive during the fall ball. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna echo what you just said. Impressive. Really, really happy with the development of Charles right now. We still got a long way to go, but for him to transition from being a quarterback to a snipe, I was really concerned on how physical would he be, because those guys wear a different jersey. They don't get hit all the time. So for him to come in and embrace that role, because like I've talked to you guys before, the snipe position isn't all about just being glamorous. We're gonna go get our nose dirty, and that's the first thing is that we're gonna block. We're gonna get after people's tails. We're gonna play Navy football. And he embraced that role. And I told him when he came over, I said, "This ain't quarterback now. You're not in the orange jersey. You're gonna have to get your nose a little dirty and bloody." He said, "Coach, I'm all about that." And we ran 12 Falcon, the zone dive play, our culture play, and he stuck his nose in there, and he's been sticking his nose in there ever since. And he has a tremendous skill set. Good hands, long, lean body, rangy, high, wide catch radius. So looking forward to continue to see him develop.
And has Michael Barrow been maybe the surprise of the camp, Michael or Charles? But I've been real impressed with Michael too, both running the ball and catching the ball.
No, no, definitely, definitely. Mike has definitely been a surprise, and I will have to say, besides Charles, probably the most improved from the spring into the fall. And we really needed Mike and Charles to develop and come along because that was one of our goals is to find depth behind Eli and Chat that we can give them a spell and not have a drop off when those two guys are out the game. And Michael did a tremendous job. I mean, shucks, we had about 16, 17 practices in fall camp, and Mike was probably one of the most consistent guys that we had, and definitely for a young guy, he was making plays all over the place, not only in the run game but in the passing game, and also being a strong blocker as well too. So extremely happy with his progress, and definitely looking forward to seeing him grow and mature.
Thank you, Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, I was talking to Eli after practice yesterday, and he made a point of saying, if you don't block, you don't get the rock. To have a guy who's as talented as he is that has bought into that philosophy.
Yeah, well, it's a team game, and um, we're gonna run the ball first. That's Navy football, and as sexy as we can be, is throwing the ball around and having him removed out. We want to be known to be complete football players. We don't want to be just known as guys that get out there and catch pitches and run routes. We want to be able to take what we take football out of people and you do that by blocking, and we want to be just as special, without the ball in our hands as if we do have the ball in our hands. And they know that's extremely important to, Coach Newberry, to Coach Chronic and myself as well, too. So, like I said, you gotta get your nose dirty a little bit, because at the end of the day, this is still Navy football. We may have a little different look to us, but we're still going to get after it.
Well, coaching football is coaching football. There are some unique parts to the Naval Academy and the student athletes that you're dealing with. How helpful has it been for you now coming into this second season, having all kind of that learning for you under your belt to be able to come in and really, as a coach, kind of run fast and loose?
It's been extremely helpful, kind of knowing the ins and outs and the day-to-day that the midshipmen go through and understanding what they go through as well too. It's been extremely helpful as far as how, we work, how our thought process is going about certain things. And I love it. I love everything about the Naval Academy. I'm extremely happy to be here, blessed to be a part of this historical program. But year two has definitely been a little easier, because when you first come, you don't understand everything that comes with the Naval Academy and how unique it is, right? So much different than a traditional university where I've been previously. So being able to understand the day to day, what these guys go through, how special it is, and it's really unique. And we talk about that being our superpower of, we do a lot more than other people. We do a lot more than other people, and we go out there and we practice just as hard, just as long, and that's what's going to allow us to continue to win games and beat teams that, people think we shouldn't beat, but it's been extremely beneficial.
What is it about Coach Chronic that you like so much that you've been with him and that's impressed you not only as a coach, but also as a play caller?
The man he is. Him just being a great person. He's a really good coach, no doubt. I love the way he coaches. I love the way he gets after it. I've seen him as a head coach. I've seen him now, going into my second year as a offensive coordinator. But this is the way he treats people. that's really special. And I knew that from the first time I met him 7 years ago, sitting in the staff room at Lenore University, that this dude was a really good man. And that's what, has kept me here and with him as long as I've been, is that he knows how to treat people, and that's really important to me. So that's it's plain and simple, man. He's a great dude. He's a man of God. I'm a man of God of myself as well too. Everything is coming from love, and and when we talk about love, it's not always just about sunshine and pound cake and kisses. It's tough love as well too, letting people know what they need to hear. You know. And I really respect that, and he's a guy that I call my big brother, so, like I said, it's just who he is as a man, a family man. I love the man dearly. I couldn't say more about him.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of pound cake myself. Oh,
That makes two of us, man. That makes two of us.
Isaiah Bryant is a returning guy. What can you say about him and what he may be able to contribute to the unit?
Yeah, Isaiah was a young guy that, we wanted to get more reps to last year, and we're going to do that this year. He's been a little banged up, and he's starting to return right now. But he's a kid that's going to bring a similar skill set as Brandon Chapman does to the team. That gritty guy that's going to get after it, quick twitch, speedy kid, super high intelligent football player. He's going to be a lethal weapon in the return game as well too, on kickoff and in the punt return game. So I'm looking for Isaiah to come in and be a major contributor as well too. And, just like Charles and Mike Barrow have done, come in and be able to spell, Brandon Chapman or Eli. Last year, Isaiah was a swing guy for us. He started as an A, and, we needed a Z. And I was like, Isaiah, do you know Z? He's like, yeah, coach. And he went in there and performed with no drop off. So he's a guy that gives you that swing ability to where he can play A or Z as well too. So, looking forward for him to get back and be 100% and, continue to help.
So what about Barrow and Robinson? Are they A or Z? Which one are they primarily?
Yeah, Barrow's an A and Charles is a Z.
What you man talked about the importance of blocking. Who is the best blocker in the unit?
Brandon Chapman, no doubt, hands down, Brandon Chapman. Yep.
Wow, very impressive.
Yep.
I think a lot of the Snipes are going to be asked to play special teams. Last year, Heidenreich returned punts. Isaiah Bryant returned kickoffs. Do you expect to have some of your unit members on special teams?
Oh yeah, that's a must. That's a must. I'm a former special teams coordinator, and it's a big part of the game. Actually, it's a third of the game. We call it the X factor. We call it the same thing when I was at Mercer and Lenore Ryan. Those guys are gonna go play. Special teams is just as important as offense or defense. So that is highly expected. I'm involved with the special teams. Thanks to Coach Brown. So yeah, that's definitely an expectation that all of them, get out there and contribute in some way.
And I know Michael Barrow is. I did a story about the strength and conditioning, and he has the highest numbers among skill position players as far as bench press, squat, and whatnot. Does that show up on the field? Those tremendous strength numbers for his. He pound for pound might be the strongest guy in the team.
No doubt, no doubt. Pound for pound, I'll definitely, agree with you on that. Is that he's definitely one of the strongest or the strongest pound for pound kid on the team. And you definitely see it. I mean, it's hard to tackle that guy. And when he puts his hands on you, you feel that 300 plus pound, almost 400-pound bench press that he has. And I mean, he's a 500-pound plus squatter. He has great contact balance, and you can see that when guys are trying to tackle him. It's hard to get him on the ground.
Thank you very much, Coach Cole. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Anyone else have anything for Coach Cole? All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you.